Fallout games are known for their many different playstyles that gamers can choose from. From sneak builds to melee builds, you're free to wield anything to your advantage and tailor your playstyle. However, in each Fallout game, there are a class of weapons that stand out among the rest. They may have funny names, cool designs, and modifiers that other weapons just don't have. These are unique weapons. Those with special traits that can boost their performance and kill potential, making any Fallout game that much more fun. From Thump to Oh Baby, I beg you the question. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with unique weapons only? Of course you can. I can already see the comments.
I hope so. Imagine being a 32-year-old virgin with acne who lives in his mom's basement, ratioing people who try new things.
If you feel attacked, good. I hope you can do. In New Vegas, there is a shop called Gunrunners. For this playthrough, buying weapons from them is off the table, but ammunition is okay. This forces myself to not just rely on gun runners, and actually forces myself to play the game and find the weapons on my own, or purchase them from different vendors that I would not normally go to. I also cannot use the uniques that you get in the beginning of the game from Courier's Arsenal. That's cheating. I got shot in the head and then made myself an amalgamation rose from the ashes. His nose being his first weapon. Jesus, you're gonna take someone's eye out there, man. For my perks, I'm not even gonna list them off like I did last time. You just get a quick look and the title card. Gaggle of Finished up and strolled outside. I needed to get my first weapon. But first, I paid respects to the man himself, and I entered Chet's store. I sold Chet my useless gear and tried to steal his shovel, but for some reason, the game said no. There's already a damper in my plans for my first unique weapon. So, I went and talked to Sonny and got a route planned, and I continued my search for the fabled shovel. I was already stumped and continued further into the wasteland. I decided, you know what would be fun? Let's be dumb. We're gonna be dumb today. Let's see how far we can get. I made it to Yangtze Memorial and decided that Sloan would be the best bet for a shovel. I made it there, dodging enemies, and I looked everywhere, but there was no stupid shovel. I need a shovel for the first unique weapon I wish to get, but the game seems against me, but I'm stubborn. I've retaken a test 5 times before without studying and expected a different result. So I found myself wandering, and apparently now I'm at Neil's shack. I don't know how I got here. Aren't Deathclaws supposed to kill me? We're just gonna brush past this. So I snuck my way around Black Mountain, determined to make it through, and discovered Repcon headquarters, and made it to Grubben and thought, holy shit, how the f did I make it this far? But there was still no shovel. This shit was getting f***ing annoying now. I entered Freeside into Mick and Ralph's, and of course, what do you think there was? Not a shovel. That's right, there's nothing here. I googled and I sighed. There's one back at Good Spring Source. I swear I'm gonna f***ing kill myself this run. Grabbing the fabled stupid f***ing shovel, I snuck along the top of the mountain ridge, avoiding the cazadors below me, and found Chance's knife, my first unique weapon. Armed dangerous, I set off to Prim. Now it was around this time I also decided I could only wear unique armor too. I love coming up with new rules that bite me in the ass later. My current goal was to build a small arsenal before I decided what path to follow. That way, no weapons were off the table. Now Chance's knife is one of the fastest in the game. After killing geckos for a bit, I leveled up and dumped my points into energy guns and science. And I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. And I also took Swift Learner as my perk. I soon realized that this knife wasn't gonna be enough. I needed a gun. I needed something that could f***ing kill people. Luckily, I knew where to get a fast, unique weapon. Novak has that gun. I made my way to Novak for now, but not before discovering Prim. I traveled to Repcon headquarters and was on my way. I discovered the 188 trading post, fixed some textures, murdered the lonesome drifter, and got the mysterious Magnum. And the Regulator Duster is a unique armor piece? What the fuck is this game, man? I felt much better armed with a gun than just a knife now, but still, I headed toward Novak. When I got there, I grabbed that gun and traveled back to Prim to take care of their convict problem. Now my gun did what guns do, but this is America. We all know guns don't kill people. Wait, do people seriously still believe that shit? Are you dumb? I realized I was low on ammo, so I went to Gunrunners and I stocked up. I bought enough rounds for a small army and went back to Prim. I used a stealth boy I stole from the Good Spring schoolhouse and blew the minds of 2 convicts. When I was discovered, I gunned them all down and I leveled up, putting the points in the lockpick for reasons I still don't remember. I recorded this a long time ago. It's February. I recorded this in December. Please don't yell at me. I decided I'd take the easy route. Since Beagle was gonna be a pussy, the NCR would force all of the citizens of Prim to pay taxes, and the people could be mad at Deputy Beagle. It's a win-win for me. On my way, some jackals jumped me. I then played Pop Goes the Rad Scorpion, and when I got to the NCR base, I couldn't pass the speech check. God damn it, I swear Brick is coming back to haunt me. So instead, I helped Ranger Jackson with clearing the bugs so the caravans could start moving again. I squashed them, knowing they could do nothing to protect themselves. I then went back to Major Knight and got Prim under control of the NCR. I then rocked Joe Cobb's world and spoke to the last surviving member of the Beatles, Pete Best. Just kidding, it's fucking Ringo. We collected everyone for a ghost town gunfight, and we slaughtered them. even as they fled out of Good Springs, every last one of them died. However, while my weapons were good, I aimed my sights higher. I was off towards Camp Golf, where I got murdered by Cazadors, ended Snuffle's family reunion, and got mauled by some fucking death claws. Finally, I read ahead of every creature and made it to Bitter Springs, discovering Ranger Station Bravo, and bait and switched these ghouls so I didn't have to waste ammo or time. But dying over and over was worth it to get my next weapon, the CZ-57 Avenger. I bought some ammo for it and I continued to Nipton. The Avenger became my best weapon. It tore through enemies like a depressed person through Girl Scout cookies, but it burned ammo as fast as the United States military, and I had to learn to conserve ammo. I said hello to Oliver and spent a painstakingly long time making an Oliver puzzle. Like 45 minutes long, sliced up boxcars, and talked to the Wasteland Furry. I then fast traveled to Novak, killed an entire Bighorner family, grabbed Chopper from Wolfhorn Ranch, and decided to help Camp Searchlight. I needed to kill 10 ghouls, and my goal was to round them all up and mow them down at once. I also raided the storage while killing ghouls to stock up on free supplies, but not before I ran out of ammo and went back to Gunrunners to buy more. I then found Private Edwards, a survivor of the attack, and realized I needed to pass a speech check, so I left him alone. My plan consisted of pissing off the ghouls and then making the NCR troopers kill their dead friends. I then found a holy frag grenade and figured out that Edward was only afraid of the rad scorpion outside. I would be too! They're fucking massive, and I was terrified. So I did the same tactic as letting the NCR kill their friends and let the NCR kill the rad scorpions. I turned in the last dog tag and got something I couldn't use. This was not worth the amount of time it spent here. I'd been here for an hour. I wanted to find more unique weapons, but also needed to level up and increase skills, so I didn't die as fast, as well as find some, actual armor that could fit for this challenge. So I found myself in North Vegas, and decided it was time to explore the H&H Tool Factory. Inside were crazed Mr. Handys and Robobrains, and a lot of mines. Too many mines, for that matter. So I got smart and used a stealth boy to sneak through the place. But I wasn't smart enough to hack Anthony House's terminal, so I grabbed the VIP card and went on my way. Honestly, not being smart is trying to bite me in the ass, and Brick is laughing at me from another video. I can hear him. This is not fun right now. I then found Sammy and Polly Wins. They had Vance's gun from Vicky and Vance's casino. I thought killing them would drop a safe key, but no. So we'll have to come back later when I can actually, talk them out of it. I then found Westside and looked around for a bit. I saw the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory and then traveled to Camp McCarran to steal a long carabine. Now, this was an easy task. It wasn't gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna sneak it off him. No, I blasted the old bastard's head off. Can't see me if he doesn't have fucking eyes, ears, or a brain anymore. I then waited for the soldiers to leave me alone, and unfortunately, Sergeant Bitterroot wouldn't piss the fuck off, so he died too. I now had a ranged gun and was able to cause serious damage without risk of getting myself killed first. I asked Manny Vargas about the men who attacked me, and I set off to Boulder City. Also, there's no footage of that because OBS paused itself. Yippee. Lieutenant Moore filled me in about the Great Khan situation, and I was sent in to clean up his mess. Yeah, I was. I don't even know if I would send the first random stranger I saw to clean up something that I did. Jessup was not very happy to see me, but fucking terrified of me. I talked him out of a shootout, and he pointed me towards Benny. I then told Moore to accept the Khan's deal and let them go, or I would kill him. I then went to Helios 1 to complete the lucky old sun. I spoke to Sparkles and learned I needed to make the solar panels talk to the tower up top. An easy task for someone of my caliber. I got the mainframes talking and salvaged all the array parts. Inside, I got ripped to shreds by machine gun fire, so I had to play hide and seek with the turrets. Having no armor made this playthrough so difficult. I decided for a quick detour. Hoover Dam was my next stop. Inside the offices lies some armor. Armor I am allowed to use. 2 sets of Chinese stealth armor. Now with armor and more minigun ammo, I was ready to take Helios 1. I refused to show a single robot any amount of remorse or courtesy. They don't have brains. They don't feel. They're not real. I repaired the wire myself and sent power to McCarran in the strip. I was then blinded by the lights. I reported to Sparkles and got a job well done. With Helios 1 done and the arrays in my pocket, I traveled to Nellis to support the boomers. I bet Field that I'd live and I took off running. I made it to the gate and was brought to meet Mother Pearl. She was happy to see me and asked for my help with the problems around Nellis. Immediately, I went to repair the array and reported to Loyal. I then helped Jack with his lady problem. Janet wanted to meet him too. I talked with Mother Pearl and got her permission to be let in. I then helped her with breaking her contract. Then I went to Raquel to start ants, so I could get Thump. I grabbed the sonic emitter and entered the ant mount array. The sonic emitter wiped out the rest of the ants, and I grabbed Thump and repaired the power grid. I then returned to Raquel, and just to be honest, I grabbed Thump because, it's just like a backup weapon. I used it a lot during this playthrough, and it really doesn't do anything because I didn't really prioritize explosives, and I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of shit for that, so I'm pointing it out before any of you get to. I then listened to Bingle Wingle's story. I became idolized, and it was time to raise the bomber. Loyal gave me a ballast and the location of the bomber, and I set off to Bitter Springs and swam towards the bomber. I attached both ballast and detonated it, bringing the lady in the lake to the surface. I told Loyal of my success, and I returned to Mother Pearl, gaining their trust. I then got paid. I returned to the Winds and told them their plan was amazing, and they began to doubt themselves. And they changed their plan. They no longer wanted the gun. Both of them seemed like they were confused and didn't even want to do the ice. So I killed them both and took Vance's machine gun. I then did some work for the Atomic Wrangler, getting a ghoul cowboy and a male escort. I then went to Ralph to find a sex bot. I waited a few in-game days, and he even made an override for the machine so it could be used. There were rats infesting the old Cerulean Robotics facility, so I uploaded the holotape and Fistol was born. I was then attacked by f***ing 3 old ladies and returned to the Garrets, and I finished this quest. From there, I headed to the front of Freeside to hire Oris. I watched him shoot 4 people with 3 bullets, and it was obvious he was a cheating fake. So I returned to King, and Oris pulled off the streets. Probably beaten, probably killed. Don't know, don't give a shit. I then looked into some locals who had been injured, and of course, the NCR was involved. Look, I'm trying to be nice to these guys and, you know, like, really build them up. It's like, oh, they could be good for Vegas, but they keep doing stupid shit. I returned to the King and set out to find the NCR presence. It turned out the King's men attacked the NCR envoy sent to them to make agreements. Also, I got Arcade as a follower, and I'm gonna be completely honest, doesn't matter. I still don't get the quest trigger because I'm stupid and 100% didn't do it right. I returned to King with the news, and Pacer started a shootout with the NCR because the little baby was unhappy. I diffused the situation, and tempers rested. I decided to hold off on King's favor for now. I found myself back at Neil's shack. He needed help with Tabitha, the crazed radio junkie, at the top of the mountain. Neil didn't make it. That's not my fault. We took the slope slow, and by we, I meant me and Arcade, because Neil died, watching for anything we could kill from a distance. I made it to the top, and I killed the Nightkin sniper, and then I massacred Tabitha, gaining myself Annabelle, the rocket launcher. I then sold all the looted weapons to gun runners to get some more cash. It was then time to go to the Brotherhood of Steel, because why the f not? It's my playthrough, not yours. I found a holotape and used it to gain access, and complied with the soldier at the front gate. Elder McNamara wanted an audience with me. I was fitted with a bomb collar and told to kill a ranger. I lied to the ranger and I drove him off instead. I was allowed to come and go as I pleased, and decided to help them find their missing patrols. The first patrol was found at Nellis. Then I found the other at Repcon HQ. I then made my way back to the Elder. I was then to find the scouts as the Elder's representative. I found all 3 at the correctional facility, Nipton, Camp 401 Hoer, and I returned to the Elder. The Elder then entrusted me with a serious task. Fixing the filtration system. Senior Knight Lorenzo filled me in, and I was off to explore the vaults for the components. Vault 11 was my first stop. It was full of bugs. After wandering around, I found the flooded utility room and found the pressure controller. It was then into Fiends territory. This time, I felt ready to fight the Fiends. I entered South Vegas after sneaking around, and it was game on. The vault was a massacre. I didn't negotiate with murderers, and the Fiends weren't an exception. I found Ranger Anders and got the key to the maintenance level. I then found Motor Runner and murdered him, his motor running no more. And then I grabbed the reverse pulse cleaner. While out here, I took care of Cook, Violet, and Driver into 5 for the NCR and took some bounties. Finally, I went to Vault 22. The plant vault. Snuck around the place clearing it of spore carriers, and I finally figured out I needed to fix the elevator and was able to get into the sealed room in oxygen production. I then brought back the completed list and returned to the Elder. He was appreciative and gave me the key to the Brotherhood safe house. I made my way there, grabbed what I could carry, and of course I sold it to gunrunners because I can't use that stuff. I also started No Not Much with Captain Gillis. I also gained access to the strip via credit check. Back in Bitter Springs, Arcade helped teach the doctor a bit more about medical prowess, and inside one of the caves was Night Stalkers and supplies for the camp. I even got soldiers from McCarran as I killed Motor Runner and had proof of it, and I went to make a prisoner talk. I hurt his feelings with my words. He began to cry. I also tracked back to Camp Golf and got them to send soldiers that way too. Final stop was Forlorn Hope, and they got men to spare. I then found another supply cache and went to look for the sniper. I found him in the final supply cave, and I guided him back towards Red Rock Canyon. I reported to Gillis and got my reward. I then worked with Camp 401 Harp to find their missing supplies and soldiers. They were going to Helios 1, so when I got there I found out they had already left, so I tracked them down using their GPS marker. I found the supplies and executed the Legionnaires for their crime. I was then to help Dr. Richards. I was to examine some of the troopers and treat them. I treated each patient, some with my medicine perk and others with the equipment around the office. Finally, it was time to take back Nelson. I met up with Cooper and it was time. We set up on the ridge and began our assault, popping shots off using the long carabine. I then realized I released the prisoners and killed... Oh god. I released the prisoners and killed Dead Sea, grabbing Liberator from him, and with that, I finished this quest. I decided now it was time to try my luck at the casinos and win some money. I took the Atomic Wrangler to the cleaners, and then I went and saw an old friend. Benny was terrified and glad to see me. We headed up to the presidential suite. I forgave him, and then put a hollow point between his eyes. Took Maria and his suit off him and headed on my way. I got forgiven by Caesar and went to house. I also grabbed the golden gloves in the lobby of the Tops. I gave him the chip for now, allowing him to upgrade the Vegas Securitrons. He wanted me to head to Fortification Hill. I was not going to upgrade the Securitrons. I'd made up my mind and chosen my factions already. I traveled to Cottonwood Cove, grabbed the unique weapon, Recompense of the Fallen, and arrived and met with Salad Man. He said he was feared with good reason. Little did he know, I was too with my 2-foot nose. I then destroyed the bunker under the fort, decided that Mr. House could suck the big one, but no more working with Caesar. The Salad Man had served his purpose. I stole the key off the gate guard and grabbed mine and Arcade's weapons. With the Avenger in hand, I began to slaughter the Legion, one by one. The Legion was weak and sad, worthless to stand in any square foot of amalgamation. I stripped Caesar and placed his head upon his throne. Arcade and I then left to go speak with Crocker. He wanted me to get in contact with the Boomers. Luckily, now I only had to ask them if they could help me, and they were more than willing to help. However, NCR was facing violence from the Kings, mainly Pacer. Of course it's Pacer, why wouldn't it be Pacer? But luckily, I'd become good friends with the Kings, and I needed to call in a favor. The King wasn't sure if he was able to do it, but I reminded him that his gang would follow him, and him and I became even. Crocker was surprised and happy that the violence finally stopped. But now, Colonel Moore was requesting my presence. She wanted me to visit the Great Khans and finish them off or make them join us. So I was off to Red Rock Canyon. It was a long walk full of killing fiends and fire geckos, as well as a legionary assassination squad, which killed me once, but then I killed them again. I arrived and spoke with Papa, hoping he would hear me as a friend to his tribe, but his representative had already gotten inside his head. I found Carl's journal, and he saw the truth. They drove Carl out. Papa, still not wanting to work with me, decided to forfeit his life. He died in his sleep, peacefully, and Reggie's became the new leader, and supported the NCR. I then fucked Sarah and went to Gamora. I talked to Caccino, his bald head gleaming in the mood lighting. He got pissed at me and sent me off, so I stole his journal right from his back pants pocket, scratching his cheeks while I was at it. I got 100 caps off him and he spilled the pork and beans about Troik and Clandon. I dealt with Clandon first, stealing his key from him and confronting him with the tape. He made like a Dodge and got the hell out of Dodge. I dealt with Troik. You know that one friend you have that you think does illegal shit? That's Troik. Also, check on your friends, please. I played him and told him I'd report him to the NCR, and he caved. What a fucking loser. And I made his sorry ass do the work for me too. I left while he destroyed the weapons and returned to Caccino, but Troik blabbed and it was time for the bosses to sleep forever. I used Maria and told him to say hello to Benny for me, and Big Sal was a lot heavier full of lead. I returned to Mommy Moore and got my next orders. Papa House had to die. I was gonna make New Vegas look like fucking D-Day. The Avenger made quick work of the Mark II Securitrons and I opened the antechamber. And then I died. After a lot of dying, I switched to Annabelle and raised hell. I then came face to face with Mr. Ballsack himself. He was disappointed in me, but just like how the old people of our generation love to tell us that they could buy a house for the price of a dime, I realized he ruined our economy and I ended his life. Mommy Moore was happy with my achievement, and it was time to have the president visit the dam. However, I had to deal with the Brotherhood. I spoke first to the Elder and he wanted to broker a peace treaty, a stop to the conflict, and give some aid to the NCR. Now Moore wasn't very happy, but I don't really give a fuck what she wants. She understood there was some ground to share and it was considered. But it was time to protect the president. Moore can get fucked. I discovered a bloodstain and realized someone had been murdered. I sweet-talked my way upstairs and I went on full lookout mode. Discovered a bomb that had been planted and I disabled it. I then realized I bugged my game. So I killed Kimball. I was the murderer all along. I fixed the bug by just murdering the engineer as soon as Kimball landed, and everything worked out just fine. The president was safe, and it was finally time for the second battle of Hoover Dam. Oliver was lucky, and I repeat, lucky I wanted to work for the NCR. He's nothing but show. He doesn't do anything. The dam was going to be difficult. Legionnaires were everywhere, and all I could do was cut them down as they arrived and pray that I didn't run out of ammo. I made it outside, and it was time for the real fight to begin. The Khan warriors arrived to assist me, in addition to the Brotherhood and the NCR Rangers. We traveled row by row, executing those as they drew closer. I used Annabelle to keep them at bay when they got a bit too far to hit them. The boomers doing their part with bombing runs, and everything began to fall into place. Before long, we crossed the threshold, and the Legion's camp was right beyond the road. The veterans showed up, and we pushed hard. One step in the way of a rocket, and we all died. But after a lot more death, we entered the Legate's camp. I was dangerously low on ammo by this point, and it was getting harder and harder to kill the Legionnaires. I saw the might of the Legate as he killed 2 seasoned Rangers, and I stepped up. He acted upon Caesar's will, even in Caesar's death. He was a traditionalist, one who honored the dead's wishes. I would honor his as I threw his slopped-off head off the Hoover Dam. I eviscerated him with the Avenger. When his body lay dead and his guards in ashes, Oliver blew open the gate, and the Rangers stormed to take the survivors and prisoners. I then beat Fallout New Vegas with unique weapons only. Hey guys, it's me. I'm just going to jump in here at the end of the video to say if you liked this video and you aren't already, go ahead and hit subscribe. It's free and it supports me and it allows me to keep creating videos just like this. I know I've been gone for a while and I've been busy with school. I've had a lot of college assignments come up. Next semester I'm going to be a senior, and then I have 3 semesters left until I graduate. So I've been really busy with that, kind of balancing that out, and this just kind of got left behind. But I'm back. I am here. I'm going to be creating whenever I can, with whatever hours, whatever minutes, whatever seconds I have. And I promise I will try to keep videos as quality and as perfect as this one. But I really appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out with me. If you want to join me in a live stream, I will be live on Fridays and Sundays for the foreseeable future. But that's it, guys. Just a quick little update.